Hello again. I'm Dave Gibson, managing editor of Third Wednesday Magazine, an independent quarterly journal dedicated to poetry, short fiction, and visual arts, published both online and in print. This is another in a series of recorded readings by the magazine's contributors who have new books on offer. I am delighted this time to introduce Joanie McLean. Joanie is an ecologist and poet who lives in Silk Hope, North Carolina. She holds degrees in botany from UNC Chapel Hill and in wetland ecology from Duke University. She is the winner of the new Millennium Writings Prize for Poetry and three-time finalist for the James Applewhite Poetry Prize. Her poems have appeared in many journals, including the North Carolina Literary Review, Third Wednesday, and Mount Hope magazine. Like Wind into Air, her fourth poetry collection will be published this winter by Redhawk Publications. You can find Joanie on the web at joaniemclean.com. And now let me introduce Joanie McLean.
Hello, I'm Joanie McLean. I'm glad to be here this evening, and I'm going to read from my book, my latest book, Like Wind into Air. It's coming out shortly in December from Redhawk Publications. It will be available on the Redhawk Publication website and also on my website, joaniemclean.com. I also, before I begin reading, wanted to thank David for this, for his introduction and for this great opportunity. I think this is a great series, and I'm glad to be here. So I'll read just a few poems, a sampling from my book, Like Wind into Air. To know the size and weight of a horse. Kneel at his head after he's gone down, after the second injection, the one that stops the heart. Clip a lock of tangled jet mane, then rise to call the waiting knacker. Because it's been raining for days now, too wet to get the backhoe into the field, too wet to make a hole that big. So call the knacker to let him know he can drive up to the barn now. Hand him the $100 bill through his window. Point him to the open gate, then walk away. Listen to his truck door open and slam shut, to the screech of metal on metal. That would be the tailgate, the ramp. Listen as the winch starts up, whines, and shudders. Hear it groan under its load as the cable tightens. Hear silence then, except for the rain that is falling again. Wonder whether to look up to watch the truck disappear around the bend. One section of my book has to do with the pandemic years. I had a hard time with long COVID for a while there, and these next three poems are from that experience. Blood work. So they've drawn blood again, several vials this time. Back out in the parking lot, January's knife, a whipping northerly wind, lends brilliant clarity to the corporeal, the prickle of wool at the chin, the throb of winter-cracked fingers, finding keys in silky pocket lining, the insistence of a cantering heart, the thick gauze pad taped inside the elbow. Those vials of blood lined up in their rack, produced in these bones and cells by some wizardry, some alchemy. These bones are cold and stiff now as they move into the wind towards the car. Tell them, please, in your cryptic lab speak, CRP, CK, dsDNA, please, can you tell them this time what it is? A hospital parking lot, one place a person weeping in their car would be no cause for alarm. Plenty of reasons, most better than this. a healing. Sometimes I think there's an old woman in the woods. I might have seen her. She or someone once left a heap of black walnuts at the foot of my garden, and when I approached, crows, it seemed, flapped away, flashing indigo into the woods. Or was it her, someone's robe, and maybe a cloth sack hanging black from her shoulder? I dreamed of that sack. I drew it with charcoal, brushing it gray with wash as I'd seen my mother do with her watercolors. So early one morning, I waited at the edge of the woods. It had snowed in the night, and soon it would rain, and fog was falling through the dripping trees. Crows erupted from shaggy branches, calling alarm, or maybe laughing at me. When she opened her bag, proffered its emptiness, I unwound my illness from around my shoulders and let it fall in. The crows strutted and postured in the melting snow, and at some signal all rose and dispersed into the sifting fog. Great horned owl. The sun's not up yet, and it's sleeting. I let the old slow dog out into it. Here in the kitchen, there's cold and dark enough to fill my heart and more, tick, tick, ticking at the blank windows. I open the door to let the dog back in. She shakes, a halo of icy droplets, and I hear the deep hoo-hooing of the great horned owl, soft, mutable, unassuming, what I've been listening for all winter. This next poem is called If You're Lucky, Your Heart Will Break, and that's a quotation from Jack Cornfield. If you're lucky, your heart will break. Hummingbirds hover in the buckeye blooms. A pair of otters has made its silvery scent mound at the edge of the pond. And the familiar lone heron arrived today with two others along, flapping for purchase in the trees, parachuting into the shallows. There is no message of doom here. Natural disasters are just items in the news. We're careful here to keep the water clean, the food chain intact. Our stream is buffered. We use no pesticides. We don't kill snakes, don't mow the fields until the nestlings have fledged. To step back from this pond, these fields, this farm, to shed this smaller sense of home, to see that it has not been enough, this breaks my heart. Here's what's left. Summer wanes as usual. The rudbeckia succumbs to mildew and wilt. The figs fall under the weight of sucking June bugs. The pond is muddy, scummed over and still. Even the birds are quiet, their calls diminished. Looking out at the brittle grass in the crickety field, I see scraps and tatters of old assumptions, of unearned grace being dragged away with the season's remnants. A semblance of security here, a shadow of normalcy there, pieces of convenience, disjointed shapes of good times, all crumbling as they go, leaving a light breeze to stir the stillness amidst the nodding muley grass plumes. So then, here's what's left. The grass, the breeze, the slipping light, the emptiness, whose touch is so gentle, the kindness of it all. And this will be my last poem. Again, this time of year. Walking towards that place in the woods, yours, because it's October. The colors are gathering, slipping through the woods, and you among them, the colors. Here you are again, because it's October, come to hone my memories, to burnish them, my memories. You don't look at me or at my life, but only at the moving light in the trees and the colors sliding, slipping through the woods. Each year, these glimpses of you are more clear, more bright. They linger longer, these glimpses, and the going back out of the woods, it seems of less account, the going back. It weighs less each time. And these clefts that are opening lead up and out, these openings among the slipping colors. And still I miss you. Wait, why do I say still, as though it will ever end, the missing? Well, thank you for listening. Again, this is Joanie McLean, and my new book is called Like Wind into Air, coming out from Redhawk Publications. Thanks very much.
And I want to thank Joanie for a warm and sensitive reading. And I want to thank everyone for listening and for watching. Once again, this is Dave Gibson from Third Wednesday Magazine, saying goodbye for now and happy reading. Good night.